Good day and thank you for joining CivilNet. Today our guest at the studios is Osman Kavala. He's the chairman of the Anadolu Kultur organization. He's also an advocate of human rights and a pluralistic cultural dialogue in Turkey and an long-standing advocate of Turkey's reconciliation with its past. Thank you for being here today. Well, I cannot help but ask this question. What's your evaluation of the Bundestag vote that happened yesterday?
Yeah, well, I'm happy to be here again. I was in Yerevan when the voting took place, so I don't know much of the reaction or responses to it. I mean, normally I'm a bit skeptical about the resolutions adopted in parliaments outside Turkey. Because we are a civil society organization in Turkey, and we try to change the attitudes, the opinions related to the past. So for us, it is more important to have some change in the domestic situation. But nevertheless, I think it is unique in a number of aspects. First of all, there hasn't been any this was not a result of a lobbying by Armenian organizations, let alone the Armenian government. It was a totally German political process. Apparently, the political parties in the parliament, they had discussion about this, how to deal with this issue. And then, as we see, there was a very strong joint compromise among the parties. I think only one person voted
against, and one abstention.
Exactly. So it's not like this process in the United States where there are these lobbies and Armenian organizations try to approach this lobby. Turks employ public relations company. So it's a different kind of politics. Whatever the result may be, I prefer this political process much more than what we see in some other countries. I think it stems from a German need to face their own history. Of course, they have the Holocaust experience, but until recently, there was no public debate in Germany related to the German involvement, because Germany was the main ally of the Ottomans, of what had happened in 1915. But there are new research. Some German writers wrote strongly about the involvement of some German politicians. So this became an serious issue in the intellectual debate in Germany. And I think it is mostly through the efforts of Cem Özdemir, who is a German politician of Turkish origin. I mean, the Greens proposed it, and they had negotiations with the other parties, so it was a sort of three-party resolution, and it reflected also a social need, an intellectual need in Germany to take responsibility of what had happened. And I think this will not be the end. I'm sure from now on, German government will be more active to promote reconciliation between Turks and Armenians, and also between Turkey and Armenia.
In case of the German recognition of the genocide and their own affiliation with the events, with the massacres, is this taking away from the Turkish insistence on historical evaluation of the 1915 events? Because Turkey keeps saying there need to be historians involved, and we need to look at it as an historical event and evaluate it further. But when a country like Germany acknowledges its own involvement in the event, does this take away from the insistence that there needs to be a historical evaluation?
That won't be an automatic process, of course, but I think it is important that, in a way, I mean, German decision is more relevant for Turkey because they are doing that in order to open the dark pages of their own history. So compared to some other adaptation of genocide resolution, this is something more genuine. And in that sense, it has got the potential to be a stronger example for Turkey. We don't expect the Turkish government to accept that what happened in 1915 was a genocide in the near future, or even the majority of the Turkish public may not agree with that. But it is important to have a very objective information and discussion about what had happened. The situation has changed. We have now more publications, more material to enable the young people to learn more about it. But of course it is important that the government must have a positive and critical attitude. When Mr. Davutoğlu was in Yerevan a few years ago, he said that the deportation was inhumane. And we were expecting that he would follow this line and acknowledge the responsibility of the Ottoman government at that time for what had happened. But unfortunately, that line was interrupted, and the attitude was not to take any response, not to attribute any responsibility to the Ottoman government for what had happened, as if it was an unintended consequence of the security decision. This is not a healthy approach, and this in a way cuts the rational deliberation in the Turkish society.
So tapping into the economist and the businessman in you, there's a calculated 37 billion euros business turnover between Turkey and Germany. 10% of Turkey's exports go to Germany. Is this going to affect the economy between Turkey and Germany, which is something that has been,
I doubt it. There were other European governments which took similar decisions, and Turkey has got good relations with those European countries, even if they adopted the genocide recognition resolution. There may be some tensions. There is a strong Turkish community, or let's say Germans with Turkish origin living in Germany. So there may be some problems because if there will be new changes in the textbooks about the 1915 and genocide, some Turkish families may not be happy about it. And I'm sure there should be some pedagogical approach how to deal with this question. But I don't think that this will sever the relations between Turkey and Germany. There are really deep-rooted relations, social, economic, cultural relations.
Within Turkey's own domestic politics, recently we see that there are louder voices, and I'm referring in this case to Garo Paylan and his actions and raising awareness about Kurdish, Armenian issues in the Turkish parliament. What's your evaluation, and what effect can that have within Turkish domestic politics?
Well, of course, we are very happy that there are Armenian deputies in the Turkish parliament in three different parties. And Garo Paylan's statement about the rehabilitation of the Armenian deputies in the Ottoman parliament was really a historical statement. And it was very important that someone said that in the Turkish parliament. But unfortunately, the relations between the political parties are getting worse in Turkey. There is polarization in the society, there is polarization in the political arena. So that causes problems for a joint, let's say, attitude to develop some joint policies related to the Armenian issues or minority issues. I think this is one of the main problems of Turkish democracy. I mean, when you compare it to the German, what's happening in Germany, that the parties are negotiating and coming together, of course, that's a big contrast.
You've been part of the normalization project for such a long time. Could you just give us an overview of what the project is, the dialogue between Armenia and Turkey, cultural dialogue? It started some time ago. It's entered phase 2.
That's right. Actually, it's not only cultural, but the dialogue among and collaboration among the civil society organizations. And I'm really quite happy and motivated to be involved in this consortium. We have 4 organizations from each country, including Civilliթաս. And we had realized, I mean, my organization and other organizations also, very interesting and I think very important events in both countries. Of course, we can't say that these events have a very sort of popular impact. After all, the role of the civil society should not be too much exaggerated. And in particular in Turkey, which is a huge country. But compared to the relations between Turkey and Turkish civil society organizations and civil society organizations in the eastern neighbors, probably the relations between Turkish and Armenian organizations they represent the most active engagement. We don't really have much relations with Iran, Syria, Iraq in terms of the civil society. Even relations with Azerbaijan are more limited, they are more confined to political alliances or engagements rather than a genuine civil society engagement.
When at first this civil dialogue started between civil organizations in Armenia or Armenian individuals, cultural association with Turkey or collaboration, there was this critique of it, saying that if this dialogue goes too far or too fast, it just brings the whole issue of Turkish-Armenian relations to a more casual level that therefore takes away from its importance. Do you feel that's something that could eventually happen?
Well, it depends on the development of the conflict. I mean, in some cases, for instance, in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, the dialogue and collaboration between civil societies did not lead to very positive results because the conflict got worsened. But as I see, although we did not witness any improvement between the two governments, the relation between two governments, we did not see also a worsening of it, even if last year, which was the anniversary, 100th anniversary of the genocide. So I think there is some restraint, and recently, I mean, as you know, Turkey's relations with Russia were severed, and we did not see Armenian government trying to make use of this thing and trying to be more active in order to embarrass Turkey. So I think there is some sort of a responsibility on both sides not to allow the relation to worsen. In such a situation, I think the activities in the civil society help. I mean, they bring about positive results. But if things would worsen, then I wouldn't be that optimistic.
A lot of the time, this collaboration is between artists from Armenia or from the Armenian diaspora and the Turkish citizens and Turkish. And what about the role of the Armenian community in Istanbul? Are they active part of this dialogue?
Definitely. Well, we have a Hrant Dink Foundation in the consortium, and Hrant Dink Foundation has got very strong contacts with the Armenian community. But besides, there are Armenians from Turkey, artists, writers who travel to Armenia. I think in general, this collaboration in the civil society also helped the Turkish Armenians to have better engagement with their counterparts in Armenia.
Thank you very much. Thank you for joining us, and thank you to the viewers for watching us as well.